In this video, we're going to do some more breast repair on Christine. This time I'll be tackling some very old cracks that I had repaired, but I didn't do them very well. And they're opening up again with all the new heat that I'm introducing in doing the current repairs. So here you could see that most of those lumps are from previous repairs, and they're either opening up or about to open. Here I'm adding some heat from the heat gun. It's going to warm the TPE up. It's going to allow it to stick together much easier. And warming the TPE up will also help smaller micro cracks that are developing that I can't even see. It will help them to stick together as well. Kind of renewing the whole TPE in that area. You could also see that nipple is partially coming off. I'm going to address that later on too. And surprisingly, with simple 1-part silicone that you get at the hardware store, it has to be the acid type, but that's what I'm going to use as an adhesive. It works very well. It will adhere to TPE, and the nipples are made out of silicone, which I'll probably go over in another video because I made them. Ideally, if I had some additional TPE in this color, I would melt it down, and it would be very helpful to pour it into some of those deeper voids with the TPE being heated up with the heat gun and the molten TPE poured in there. It would make a nice bond, and then maybe a little smoothing on top of that. But as is, I don't have any in that color. I may end up having to harvest some from the back of the head of the doll, where you can't see it obviously, or maybe from the neck area where the bolt is. But you can see some of these cracks are kind of gnarly. They opened up, and really the only way to tackle this stuff um, is either with a heat gun, or if you, like I said, if you do have the opportunity to melt down some TPE and actually pour it into those voids, that would work very well also. Problem with TPE, as you heat it, it becomes very smoky, so you do have to have ventilation. I do have a fan going in the background that's ventilating everything outside. It's bad to breathe that stuff, and also it will definitely set your smoke detectors off if you don't vent it. TPE's had some time to cool, so I'm reheating it. And you notice I'm wearing gloves. That's basically to keep the oils from my skin off the doll. It's important to really clean the area, because if you leave dirt on an area and you do this type of repair, it's definitely going to get burned in, and it's going to discolor the whole thing. Yeah, you can see how that's really opening up now. This is rather a aggressive approach, but it's something that in this case I have to do because these boobs, they're gel filled, so they move all over. They don't really stay in one spot. It's very difficult to close up big gaps like this. And of course, the constant sagging down of these large boobs pulls on the TPE and it rips right there. That's why after a while I actually had to get to install a bra to hold these things up, so it would lessen the amount of times that I have to do this. This doll is probably only about 2.5 years old, 3 years, and her armpit is cracked, her boobs have cracked, her back is cracked, cracks have shown up on her crotch. Here I'm pressing down to try and close things up. Melting the TPE is a much quicker repair than using, say, TPE paste, because once the TPE begins to cool, it'll begin to solidify. As with paste, it takes time for the solvent to evaporate out of it and allow it to get solid again. And then TPE paste is not quite as strong as the original TPE is. I mean, it's great for small cracks and filling small voids and things like that. And of course, you can actually take TPE paste and thin it down and color it and use it like a paint on the doll, and it will stick pretty well. And I'll probably make a video about that eventually. The nipples weren't painted, they were actually molded that color. Although I did do a pair that I did paint and it came out very well. Here I'm adding more heat. And the whole goal here is to try and get the higher lumps of TPE smoothed out and filling that void. It may not be too easy to see it on the camera, but there are a lot of lumps from the previous repair. And when you start seeing that smoke, like you're seeing now, you know that the TPE is right at the right temperature where you can move it around, you can repair pretty easily. And if you look between the breasts, you'll see another big cut on the right breast. Here I'm checking to see if the old cracks on that side are going to open up like the left side, but they look pretty good. They are still a little lumpy, but they didn't appear to look like they were going to open up. This iron is primarily for smoothing. I will use it with a little bit of mineral oil because it makes that iron slide right over the surface, and you can get a fairly smooth surface if you keep working at it. Additionally, when you heat that TPE up, the TPE, when it gets really hot, will become like a kind of pasty, almost like peanut butter. And without the mineral oil, that iron could actually dig in and move more TPE around than you really want. So the mineral oil helps it slide over, smooth it down. Of course, you got to have a light hand. You know, if you're too heavy handed, you're going to do damage. Towards the end of the video, you'll see the finished product. And that's not really finished, but it's as far as I wanted to go. I mean, I could just continue to work on it until it's perfect. That's a pretty gnarly looking crack right there. That's opened up quite a bit. And I'm quite surprised that I managed to get it closed. Now here I have to be very careful that I don't strike the arm of the doll. That iron is red hot. And I've got to get it in there, and at the same time I've got to close up that gap. And then afterward I'll have to hold it for just a little bit as it cools. And that's the process, basically dipping the iron in there, making everything molten, smoothing it out, going back. And
Okay, so we can see that the silicone around the nipple did a good job for an adhesive. And coloring it made it blend in pretty good. Some of this looks pretty rough, but it's a lot better than it was. And once I do a little more cosmetic work to it, it won't be as noticeable. It's never going to be what it was. But those big cracks at least are fixed. That's the problem with TPE, it cracks. Now I got to do the back.